Alright, Raider Nation, buckle up, because the silver and black are back in the spotlight, and this time, it's a whole new ballgame. Can you feel the electricity in the air? The Las Vegas Raiders, a franchise that's been chasing that winning spark for years, are turning heads in 2025 with two absolute legends, Tom Brady and Pete Carroll, reshaping this team from the inside out. I'm your host, and today, we're diving deep into the Raiders' transformation, breaking down what's new, what's working, and what's got fans buzzing from Allegiant Stadium to the streets of Oakland. So, let's get to it. Here's the latest on your Las Vegas Raiders. First, let's talk about the big news shaking up the desert. The Raiders, coming off a rocky 4-13 season in 2024, have undergone a complete overhaul, and it all starts at the top. Owner Mark Davis, who's been steering this ship through some stormy waters since the team's move to Las Vegas in 2020, knew something had to give. The Raiders haven't tasted playoff glory since 2021, and their last postseason win? You've got to go all the way back to the 2002 AFC Championship game. That's right, over 2 decades of heartbreak for Raider Nation. But Davis isn't sitting idly by. He's brought in the big guns, and I mean big. Enter Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback to ever lace him up, now a minority owner with a 10% stake in the franchise, and Pete Carroll, the grizzled veteran coach who's turning 74 but still brings the fire of a rookie. These two are rewriting the Raiders' playbook, and the early results? Well, let's just say the vibes in Vegas are electric. Now, let's break down the headline. Brady and Carroll are changing the culture in Las Vegas, and it's showing on the field. The Raiders are 1-1 to start the 2025 season, splitting their first 2 games, including a gritty Week 1 win over the New England Patriots. Ironic, right, considering Brady's history there? But this isn't just about wins and losses. It's about a new identity. For years, the Raiders have been a team that, frankly, couldn't get out of their own way. From coaching carousels to quarterback controversies, Raider Nation has endured more head-scratching moments than a highlight reel of fumbles. Remember the 2018 trade of Khalil Mack? Or the Antonio Brown saga in 2019? Yeah, those were dark days. But 2025 feels different. Davis, Brady, and Carroll are building something sustainable, something that screams, "Just win, baby." The iconic motto of the late Al Davis that still echoes through the fanbase. Let's zoom in on Pete Carroll, because this guy is a game changer. At 73, he's the oldest head coach in NFL history, but don't let that fool you. Carroll's got the energy of a man half his age. This is the same guy who led the Seattle Seahawks to a Super Bowl title in 2013 and built the Legion of Boom, one of the most ferocious defenses in NFL history. His track record? Just 3 losing seasons in 14 years with Seattle. That's the kind of consistency the Raiders have been craving. Carroll's brought his signature intensity to Vegas, and you can see it in the way the team plays. They're disciplined, they're physical, and they're hungry. In a recent press conference, Carroll said, "We're not clinging to the old ways. This team is wide open, ready to compete." And compete they have. In their Week 2 matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers, the Raiders went toe-to-toe in a thrilling Monday Night Football showdown, even if they came up short. The defense, led by star edge rusher Max Crosby, was relentless, and the offense showed flashes of brilliance under new coordinator Chip Kelly. More on that in a bit. Now, let's talk about Tom Brady's role, because it's raising some eyebrows. Brady, who officially joined the Raiders ownership group in October 2024, isn't just sitting in a luxury box sipping coffee. He's in the trenches, consulting with Carroll and Kelly on strategy, breaking down film, and bringing his 7 Super Bowl rings worth of wisdom to the table. Now, there's been some chatter, especially after ESPN's broadcast of the Raiders-Chargers game, about Brady's involvement. Sideline reporter Peter Schrager dropped a bombshell, claiming Brady talks to Kelly 2 or 3 times a week, going over game plans and film. Picture this, the GOAT, headset on, in the coaching box at Allegiant Stadium. It's like something out of a Hollywood script. But Carroll was quick to downplay the report, saying, "We have conversations. I talk to Tom, Chip talks to Tom. He's a tremendous asset." Asset or not, Brady's dual role as a Raiders owner and Fox Sports announcer has sparked debate. The NFL loosened restrictions on his broadcasting gig in 2025, but some wonder if he's walking a tightrope. Can he call games objectively when he's got skin in the Raiders game? Raider Nation doesn't seem to mind. They're just thrilled to have TB12 in their corner. Let's shift gears to the roster, because this is where the rubber meets the road. The Raiders' 2025 squad is a fascinating mix of veterans and young talent, reflecting the vision of Carroll, Brady, and new general manager John Spytek. On offense, the big storyline is quarterback Geno Smith, who reunited with Carroll after a trade from Seattle. Smith, who threw for over 4,200 yards and 30 touchdowns in 2022, is a massive upgrade over the Aiden O'Connell-Gardner-Minshew duo that struggled last year. He's got weapons, too: first-round pick Ashton Jeanty, a dynamic running back, and tight end Brock Bowers, who was a rookie sensation in 2024. Under Chip Kelly's fast-paced, high-tempo system, this offense is built for explosiveness. Kelly, fresh off a national championship with Ohio State, is reportedly the highest-paid offensive coordinator in the NFL at $6 million a year. That's right, Mark Davis is sparing no expense to turn this team around. In Week 1 against the Patriots, Kelly's unit put up 20 points, with Smith showing poise and Bowers making a highlight reel catch. But there's work to do. The offensive line and cornerback depth are question marks, and Carroll isn't shy about playing rookies to fill gaps. Keep an eye on second-rounder Jack Beck, a receiver who's turning heads in camp. Defensively, the Raiders are leaning on their heart and soul, Max Crosby. The man's a one-man wrecking crew, logging 51 pressures and 10 sacks in 2023 before an injury-riddled 2024. He's back and healthy, and in the preseason, he was already giving offensive linemen nightmares. Carroll's also brought in reinforcements like rookie defensive linemen J.J. Pegay and Tonka Hemingway, both of whom dominated in the SEC and topped the charts in preseason pressures. The secondary, though, is a work in progress. Malcolm Kuntz's return from a torn ACL is a boost, but the loss of nearly 70% of last year's defensive snaps means this unit is young and untested. Carroll's track record with defenses gives fans hope, though. If anyone can turn this group into the next Legion of Boom, it's him. Now, let's put this in historical context. The Raiders' glory days, 3 Super Bowl titles in 1976, 1980, and 1983, are a distant memory, but they're part of the team's DNA. Legends like Marcus Allen, Howie Long, and Tim Brown set a standard that this franchise still chases. The move from Oakland to Las Vegas in 2020 was supposed to usher in a new era, but it's been a bumpy ride. Allegiant Stadium, nicknamed the Death Star, is one of the NFL's crown jewels, but the team's 18-35 record since moving there hasn't matched the glitz. Compare that to the 2025 outlook. Analysts like Brent Sobleski are predicting a 10-7 season, with the Raiders as a dark horse playoff contender. That's a far cry from last year's 4-13 disaster. The AFC West is a gauntlet, facing Andy Reid's Chiefs, Sean Payton's Broncos, and Jim Harbaugh's Chargers, but the Raiders' schedule isn't as brutal as it could be. If they can steal a couple of division games and handle business against teams like the Patriots and Commanders, that 10-7 mark is within reach. Let's bring in a fictional voice to spice things up. Imagine we're sitting down with Max Crosby after practice. "Man, this team's got a different feel," he says, wiping sweat from his brow. "Coach Carroll's got us locked in. It's not just talk, it's about putting in the work, day in, day out. And having Tom Brady in the building? It's like having a cheat code. The guy's won more Super Bowls than most teams have playoff appearances." That's the kind of energy coursing through the Raiders' locker room right now. Fans are feeling it, too. I caught up with longtime Raider Nation member Maria Gonzalez outside Allegiant Stadium, and she was hyped. "I've been bleeding silver and black since the Oakland days. This feels like the old Raiders, tough, gritty, ready to shock the world." So, what does this all mean for the Raiders' playoff chances? It's early, but the signs are promising. A 1-1 start isn't setting the world on fire, but it's a foundation. The offense is clicking under Kelly, with Geno Smith spreading the ball around and Ashton Jeanty bringing a spark in the run game. The defense, while young, has the potential to be disruptive, especially with Crosby leading the charge. Betting analysts see the Raiders as long shots to make the playoffs, but don't count them out. The AFC is stacked, but a wild card spot isn't out of the question. If Carroll can work his magic and Brady's influence keeps the team sharp, this could be the year the Raiders finally break through. Imagine the scene: Allegiant Stadium rocking, the black hole in full force, as the Raiders punch their ticket to the postseason for the first time since 2021. It's enough to give you chills. Let's sprinkle in some Raiders trivia to keep things fun. Did you know the Raiders were founded in 1960 as part of the AFL? Or that their 1983 Super Bowl win over Washington was a 38-9 beatdown, with Marcus Allen earning MVP honors? The team's rivalry with the Kansas City Chiefs is one of the NFL's fiercest, dating back to the 1960s, with classics like the 1970 Holy Roller game, where a last-second fumble recovery sealed a Raiders win. And let's not forget the pop culture ties. The Raiders' pirate logo and silver and black aesthetic have made them a favorite in movies, music, and even video games. Ice Cube's a lifelong fan, and the team's gritty vibe inspired NWA's Straight Outta Compton. That's the kind of swagger this franchise brings, and it's coming back in 2025. Looking ahead, the Raiders face a pivotal stretch. Their Week 3 matchup against the Washington Commanders is a chance to build momentum before a brutal divisional slate. If Geno Smith can keep the turnovers down and the defense can gel, this team could be a problem. But there are risks. Injuries, especially to key players like Crosby or Kuntz, could derail the season. And the AFC West is unforgiving. Every game against Kansas City, Denver, or the Chargers is a slugfest. Still, the optimism is real. NFL insider Brent Sableski put it best: Pete Carroll wasn't hired to rebuild. He's here to win, and win now. If the Raiders can hit that 10-7 mark, they'll be in the playoff conversation, and who knows? Maybe they'll finally snap that 22-year postseason win drought. Before we wrap up, let's talk about what makes the Raiders special. Raider Nation. From the Black Hole in Oakland to the tailgates in Vegas, this fanbase is unmatched. They've stuck with the team through thick and thin, through the Tuck Rule heartbreak, the John Gruden era, and the move to Sin City. Now, with Brady and Carroll leading the charge, it's time for fans to dream big. So, here's your call to action. Grab your silver and black gear, fire up the grill, and get to Allegiant Stadium or your nearest sports bar for the next game. The Raiders are on the rise, and you don't want to miss this ride. Follow us for all the latest updates, analysis, and highlights, because Raider Nation is about to make some noise. That's all for now, folks. The Las Vegas Raiders are back, and they're ready to fight. Will they shock the NFL in 2025? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure: the silver and black are coming for that crown. Stay tuned, and as always, just win, baby.